Yo ho ho, Don Mafia. What's going on, ladies and gents? It is a beautiful day to be a Buffalo Bills fan because for the fourth week in a row, we are celebrating a sweet, sweet Victory Monday. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we handed the Las Vegas Raiders their ass this past Sunday. Make no mistake, I know that the score doesn't represent exactly how much the Bills dominated this game. There are still some questions with their defense. There was a couple of decisions Josh Allen didn't do too hot, despite the fact that he absolutely balled. We're going to dissect that in this week's edition of Buffalo Bills Report Card Week 4, and I just so happen to be having a very special guest on, my buddy Steve, who is the host of the Buff Hub podcast over on BuffaloRumblings.com. We're going to dive into that, and I really think you guys are going to enjoy it. And without further ado, let's dive right in. Yo ho ho, Da Mafia. As promised, I am bringing on a very good friend of mine, Steve Vega of Buff Hub from Buffalo Rumblings, to sort of help me dissect this report card that I have been giving out weekly to our team, the beloved, the 4-0 Buffalo Bills. What's going on, Steve?
Dude, I am so excited to be on. It's been a minute, but we're always just texting. We're so excited about what the Bills are doing.
Yeah.
And, I just love the energy we get every time we get together, whether if it's on PS4 playing some Madden or whether if it's just talking about the Bills or cutting up about whatever, man. It's nice. And, yeah, man, I mean, it's been so great being able to see the transition from the off season into the regular season or the preseason right now. Right.
Right.
Yeah, but it's been interesting. You know, I think there's a lot to dissect, but I just really feel like we're not really seeing the true Bills yet. I think week 6 to 8, that's going to be a very big situation for us. Right now we're being tested, but I think it's consistency right now. So I'm excited, man. You know, living out in Vegas, a lot of bitter Raiders fans out here for sure.
I could imagine. And so I could imagine. But really, at the end of the day, it's not like that they're like dedicated fans because they just became Raiders fans like 3 months ago. So it's not like that they've been following this team for a while. I'm assuming the majority of them are pretty much on the bandwagon. But
yeah, pretty much. I mean, my boss didn't show up to work and he's from Cali.
Shit.
Yeah, and he has been legitimately shitting all over Josh Allen since I arrived at base over here. This is going for about maybe over 9 months. So, was kind of looking forward to rubbing in his face a little bit today, but he didn't show up. It's okay. It's no big deal. Whatever.
Yeah,
we're moving on.
And yeah, well, rightfully so. There's so many of these personalities out there that are finally eating their words about Josh Allen. And I mean, you knew going into it, especially when we collabed on your podcast a couple of months ago, per usual, was absolutely just blowing up Josh Allen. Oh, he's going to be like an MVP season type guy. And granted, I believed it, but I didn't believe it. So, I mean, I ended up getting surprised once I've seen just the season that he's been able to put together so far. And by the way, how terrible was your heart palpitation when you saw him going into the locker room?
That was – I feel like I am always 50-50 watching Josh Allen.
Okay.
Because of just the way he plays – I call him Josh Favre. I mean,
Josh Favre.
Oh yeah. I mean, if some people would take the time to look at Brett Favre's, numbers, he threw an insane amount of interceptions, and Green Bay just loved who he was, and they let him be who he is. And I feel like that's what the Bills are doing with him, and they're trying to surround him with pieces that make sense for the way he plays. So when I see Josh Allen get hurt and just go to the locker room, I think he's tough as nails, but
yeah,
eventually he's going to have to learn. And it's just like I told you in the last take. Remember, I said, eventually you're going to have to take the training wheels off and your kid's going to probably bump his head pretty good on the mailbox. And that was one of those situations, but he's good. He's okay. Just keep it moving.
Yeah.
Let him do what he does. And it wasn't like that was a negative play. I mean, we almost got the first down, but hey, you live and die by Josh Allen, just like you live and die by the blitz, right? Same thing.
You really, really do, man. Honestly, I about had a heart attack the second that I saw that happen because the only thing that I could think of is like, fuck, Matt Barkley's about to come in here and absolutely ruin our season. Josh is going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. Our hot-ass start is just going to go down the drain. But like the fucking Viking Josh Allen rolls back out. And largely, you could barely tell that he was injured like great in my opinion. I mean, granted, like there was a couple of drives that I wasn't happy with toward the end of the fourth, but I mean, we'll get to that. But I mean, all in all, I mean, I've loved this kid's performance from the jump. So what I kind of want to do now is I sort of want to like start diving into specific grades of what we saw on Sunday, starting off with the offense. I would love to hear just your general grade and then why you think that.
I'm going to say B plus. I think they definitely delivered. I would have liked to see them, put the nail in the coffin earlier. Obviously going into a third quarter, they did not. They played consistent. I think it wasn't one of those situations like last week. They just let the Raiders just completely come back and take over the game. Yeah. What they ended up doing is just seizing control of every single quarter. Let's take it one quarter at a time. Whenever I see Josh Allen roll out to his left, I feel like there's something has to change on the offensive line. I mean, it's just something has to give there. And, they did a decent job. Getting into specifics would be very difficult right now. But if we're talking about the offense at large and how we were able to just take control, I think we never lost control. I was literally sitting there with my newborn son and, chilling, not having a situation where I felt like I was jumping out of the couch until I saw the pass with John Brown where should have been a touchdown, but it's okay. That was when I got up and cheered. I was like, oh, this is great. You see Josh Allen go down. I just feel like he's too tough to, go out in a play like that. I felt like the hit should have been a little bit tougher, maybe on the legs, or maybe they would have fell on him to really hurt him really bad. But I knew he was going to come back in. When I saw the way he fell, I just, in my head instinctually, I was just like, he'll be back. He'll be fine. He walked off fine. There wasn't a situation where, he hurt his elbow in that Texans game 2 years ago, I believe it was, and he just fell to the ground in pain. It wasn't that. And so what we're seeing is a Josh Allen who is maturing, Josh Allen who is leading the offense, and a supporting cast that is really starting to play a little bit more loose. You look at Cole Beasley jumping up and holding on to passes. That I didn't see him doing that before.
It was insane.
Yeah.
There was so many crazy catches that game. I mean, especially with Diggs's Moss. Like, that was just a straight Moss catch right over there, especially when Josh just bombed it down the field. Same with Cole Beasley, where that poor dude, like, I mean, he's my size, dude. Like, I'm only like 5'9", 5'10". So, I mean, I could only imagine taking a hit like that. Like, he legitimately went head over heels, 360 in the air and hit that. Like, that was, I don't know. Like, I'm just so impressed with the strides that Josh has been able to make. Like, he's making throws this year that he could not have made last year. He is threading the needle, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Oh, yeah, and I think it's so tough when you have so much talent on a team on how to distribute the ball, and I think he did a great job. I think he took what the defense gave him, and when he saw that deep shot, it really, in my opinion, just put an exclamation point by Josh Allen's name. And people are understanding – the Bills aren't going to sit back and play conservative and check the ball down, even if it's a 50-50 ball. That was a 50-50 ball, but you trust your guy to make the catch. Yeah. And he sure as hell did. And there were a lot of situations where, you were wondering, when was that time going to come? When is he going to rip the ball? And he was doing it a couple of times in that game. That really was just extremely impressive. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see this offense evolve. I really think it's going to start evolving, but I feel like you don't evolve unless you have better competition. And that's exactly what you saw with the Raiders. Better outfielders out there than we faced. Abram is no joke. They were obviously banged up, but I don't take anything away from the Raiders. I think they're tough as nails, and they've always played us hard. Even if they've lost by a couple of touchdowns, it's always one of those nail biter games no matter what. Yeah, for sure. And so what was most interesting to me was the fact that Josh Allen's rushing yards were in the negatives. Josh Allen rushed for -2, -3 yards. And I think that it just goes to show you that the identity of our offense has permanently transitioned to a pass-first team. And so right after week 1, and for the next 2 weeks was just saying, no, listen, like, we're going to go back to our roots. We're going to be running the damn ball. I just think that our identity has
made a permanent change. And so I'm not sure about you, but I mean, why fix what's not working? I've been saying, oh yeah, like we're definitely going to start running a hell of a lot more like later on, but I'm not convinced that that's ever going to happen again.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. I think also the Rams they took that away from the Bills and they said, beat us this way. You
Yeah,
have to.
we
And
did.
what ended up happening? They ran the damn ball. 18 carries for Devin. I think that was monumental for his growth in a road game that is everyone's been stressing about. And you trust your running back to make, a decent difference in a game that's obviously going to be really tough inside the numbers to run the football. And he did a great job. And I mean, we were punching them in the teeth every time we ran the football. And they may have not been spectacular runs, but we were definitely imposing our will throughout the game. And that's what you want to see. You want to see a Bills offense for the first time in decades to punch a defense in the teeth. Stop waiting for the defense to punch you. Punch first and keep punching. And don't stop until you win the game. And, that's what we want to see. Obviously, the Rams game, that was a big learning curve, but you look at how they transitioned. We were like, I felt like Coach McDermott was like, we were in control of that entire Rams game. And then we just took our foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
We need to, as a whole, just play stronger and have more authority. And, look at the shuffle in offensive line. Not having Feliciano, you're seeing the difference. And other guys are having to step
when
up.
are they when are they expecting him to be back? Because they said because they said initially week 4, but as soon as when I heard that, knew it was a stretch.
I mean, your guess is as best as mine. I mean, I've been, just following Matt Perino off the Shout podcast, and he's a Bills beat reporter. I've been following Ryan Talbot. I've been following Joe Biscaglia. And honestly, I talked to them and they don't really know exactly either. Everyone was thinking he was slated to return this game. Yeah. But if we're winning and he can heal up exponentially more in the next couple of weeks, why bring him back? I feel like, okay, if we go, let's say in the next 7 games, we go 5-2 and then we bring him back and he is really healthy, really ready to go. That's what you want. And, Brian Winters has been doing a decent job. I think, yesterday was kind of a head scratcher seeing Quentin Spain jump up in the lineup there, but did all right. Obviously you make in-game adjustments. There's a lot of different things happen in this game, but I'm proud of them. I think it was it was just in control. That's what you want to see from a team that is slated to win the division.
And the offensive line really didn't do too bad on Sunday, in my opinion. I mean, Josh only got sacked once, and that was 100% his fault. Was not the offensive line's fault.
Was he going to his left or his right?
He was going to his left.
Exactly.
So he was rolling onto the left. And so it's funny too, because you know what? So many people are praising Dable, and a lot of people that were the same people last year that were calling for his damn job with just the amounts of play calls that he's been going. Somebody I was talking to made a very intriguing point the other day. And they said how good rate of a play caller is Dable when Josh Allen needs to consistently roll out to the left and extend time. How good is Dable versus how much of an athletic freak is Josh Allen? That's what I've always liked to sort of have a conversation about.
Yeah, I mean, when you see your right-handed quarterback complete a pass with his left hand, you want to see a little bit of a diverse play calling. They tried to get Dawson Knox involved. I think, they tried to do the whole screen game that Kansas City does, and it's slowly starting to unravel. It's really hard to trust a player to execute on a play like that who hasn't been producing in the way you want to see him do, just getting separation. And, it's a gamble when you have to throw it one-on-one to your tight end when he is honestly unproven. And, he showed a lot of trust to Tyler Kroft, but Tyler Kroft is actually getting separation versus Dawson Knox. And that's something that Knox needs to look into. I'm impressed by Tyler Kroft. I think he's been doing a great job. And, definitely just tip your hat off to the offense as a whole, really just looking at what they need to do as far as expectations go and just trying to meet those expectations. But, I'm proud of them. I know Bills Mafia is proud of them. And there's a lot of positive to take out. And I think one thing Matt Perino said that I've been taking to heart is let's relish what's going on with the Bills and be more optimistic. We've been
For sure.
pessimistic for years.
Yeah.
And
And we deserve
pessimism
to
is
be optimistic.
yeah, and
We deserve,
pessimism is not going to
rightfully
help
so.
our team. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. And that's why it's funny that you gave them a B plus, because I agree with you. There's just something with that third quarter curse, man. One game, I really want to see the Bills just lay it on the entire game. Now, granted, I mean, we've been putting up 30 points on average every single game. Say that we were to like rev it through the entire game, that I mean, we'd be putting up 50 burgers on just whoever we damn played.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely interesting. That right there, and then just like those last couple of drives when Josh ended up taking a sack that ended up making us be out of field goal range. Then again, though, with Tyler Bass, I'm not necessarily sure that I trust him quite yet anyway, so maybe that was for the damn best.
Yeah.
And then that one drive where they ran the ball like 3 times in a row, like 2nd and 20, 3rd and 20, like that sort of pissed me off a little bit, but and so really all in all, with Diggs being this new addition to our offense, it has completely opened up our playbook. And there's no doubt in my mind that we probably have a top 3 offense right now in the entire league. And I'm fine with it.
I mean, some would even argue that defense right now is a struggle for the entire NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't want to admit it, but having a crowd with a good defense is very, very necessary. I feel like when you're basically feeling like you're playing exhibition games, so to speak, with this crowd noise, it's not fair. I feel like Bills Mafia shows up big time when the Bills defense needs that momentum swing.
So that's interesting.
Could you imagine? I mean, could you imagine what Bills Mafia would have been sounding like in Las Vegas if they would have seen Josh Norman live punch that ball out?
Oh yeah.
It would have been, all the Raiders fans would have literally walked out because of how loud and how much we would have taken over that moment.
Dude, insane. So this is interesting. So you're saying that you think the reason that the NFL is struggling so significantly with defense is the fact that there are not fans in the stadium.
Oh, absolutely. Because there's no way to know exactly how the decibels are, impacting the other offense. I think at the end of the day, when fans are there live, there's way more raw emotion. Players get annoyed. I mean, I remembered when, for example, when I was watching the Bills play in Tampa, I mean, people, I'm not joking to you, people were ripping EJ the entire game.
Oh, I bet.
The Bills fans, right? I'm not even talking about defense. I'm just talking about how players are affected. And there was an entire section where he could just hear them. What's it gonna take for you to be more accurate? Like just saying all kinds of things, right? Cursing out Stephon Gilmore. I remember yelling, they don't mean it. You know what I mean? And him actually looking, he looked back. And, there's something about having raw emotion that really affects the way players play, especially defensively. It's so hard when an offense is going and you're in the red zone to feel like someone has your back and you're away. And sometimes Bills Mafia will show up and really give the Bills that support. Like you think about last year when we came back and I'm not sure exactly. I forget a little bit, but when we faced the Titans and in Tennessee, Bills Mafia took over. Let me tell you right now, there's a hell of a lot of Bills fans in Las Vegas than people think. They would have showed up.
Oh yeah, I believe it. And so I was planning on going to that game, dude.
I would have been there with you, trust me.
And yeah, trust me. I was definitely planning on going to that game, which is insane. So since we're on defense, so sounds like both you and I agree that a B+ is justified for the offensive performance. Now let's go to the more touchy subject of our defense, right?
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll start off with my grade, and I'm going to have to give them a B- just because they ended up showing up when we needed them to. And so I really think that Josh Norman, I have been so excited for Josh Norman to come in. In fact, I think that this was an impromptu decision by our coaching staff as well. If Levi Wallace didn't go down, I don't think that Norman's snap count would have been as high. as it was when the clock hit 0 during the fourth. But holy hell, dude. He came out and completely switched the momentum. That and the Quentin Jefferson strip sack was funny because, like, when you look at the Raiders' first consecutive drives, they were just taking advantage of our defense. But then once you look at their last 5, it was fumble, punt, fumble, punt.
Yeah.
Like, we finally woke up, and what I think happened was Josh Norman brought the swagger back to our defense. And I'm hoping that this is the thing that's going to be moving forward.
Absolutely. Now, I got to go with my blood type once again, and it's B+, B positive, man. Because, dude, when you got Levi Wallace out of the game, you got Matt Milano having to pick up the slack for the defensive line. I mean, and you have Darren Waller running all over the freaking field, and we are slowly looking like we may unravel, and then we just have resolve. That's what I saw. I saw resolve in our defense. I saw a defense that looked at each other and said, we know who we are. We know what we're capable of. We need to punch them in the mouth real quick. And I'm going to tell you right now, when I saw the turnover start, that's when I felt like the Bills' mojo came back.
Yeah.
And I said it from the beginning of the season. It's going to take 6 to 8 weeks for this defensive line to figure out how they fit in our defense. Very complex. And Mario Addison's dropping into coverage. And I remember the announcer saying, oh, wow, that was different. Would Sean take over the playbook? Just really nice, different looks. A lot of flexibility with our players. I was not happy to see Matt Milano get hurt again.
No.
I think that's a shot to his pay number right now. I think the Bills front office is looking at his durability, and they're saying, whoa, what's going to happen here, man? I mean, you're hurting here, you're hurting there. Are we going to re-sign you, and then you're just going to be out for the season?
And so I think we're going to let him walk. And so I think that we're probably going to pick up an outside linebacker in the draft, first round.
I am going to stay on the other side of believing that we're going to get creative and we're going to keep the Italian stallion, baby. He made a huge impact.
I love him.
He made a huge impact. Yeah, he made a huge impact. But at the end of the day, let's say the season, next season comes around and we're looking at Latulele, we're looking at Murphy, we're looking at the draft. And what if we're able to maybe fit someone else in there again to maybe fill a void and keep, one of our marquee players that really knows how to fit in our defense.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that you get a new defensive line because you just can't afford it, right? You can't afford to, pay Shaq Lawson, and you're trying to figure out how to fix the Lorenzo Alexander void. There's a lot on Milano and Edmonds' plate, especially because I feel like Lorenzo was such a huge piece vocally, helping out with, audibles, whatever have you, to communicate it to the, the mic. And what you have is Milano and Edmonds taking over the defense.
Yeah, very true.
And, it's a big deal. They see everything very clearly. And you got Milano, running stride for stride with, these gazelle tight ends. I look at, just to get back to the topic here of this question, like how our defense are graded for the defense. I feel like they definitely improved.
Yeah.
I think they are starting to gel. And ultimately, we're waiting to see what the ceiling is for the defensive line still.
Absolutely.
We don't know when that's going to happen. It could happen next year. It may happen in the playoffs. We don't know because there's a lot of talent. Quentin Jefferson is not a scrub. Mario Addison is not a scrub. Ed Oliver is just getting better and better. Jerry Hughes really led the way. You see a lot of penetration by him on the edge. I told Joe Biscaglia on my last podcast on Buffalo Rumblings, I said, if we stop Jacobs, we win the game. I think I was right. But, some other people may have a different opinion. Like, no, maybe I feel like the Bills definitely should have played, with better execution. I don't know. I just really think if we control the trenches better, and that's what, that's what won the game.
And so he really wasn't that effective. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Jacobs only put up like 46 yards. So, really wasn't much. And so next week too. And I'm not sure whether or not that Derrick Henry is one of the players that has COVID. Does he, or you don't know?
I did not.
I don't think
read
they've
too much
released
into
names.
I didn't see any names.
And so I don't
personally
think that
didn't
they
see any
did.
names.
But I mean, so many people are worried about Derrick Henry. Like last year, he really didn't do much against us back when we played him. And I
He
mean,
did not.
and so I have a feeling that McDermott is going to remember that. And I really think that, say that this game does happen on Sunday, then I think that we probably should be able to fare pretty well against him. But right now, definitely glad to see the improvement that I saw yesterday.
Yeah.
Compared to what we saw during week 3, where we almost blew a 28-3 lead, which would have been an absolute travesty. And so I am in the exact same camp as you, where I think the absence of a preseason sort of hurt their chemistry and their ability to gain that type of really good understanding of where they fit in. And I'm really hoping that now that the preseason is over, that so week 5 just makes a bunch of, great leaps and bounds.
I really hope so. And I really hope that we're able to take the formula we used against Derek Carr and, hopefully it translates well against Tannehill. I haven't really seen a lot of what Tannehill has improved on. I just think he has better players, and I look at the way we played Derek Carr. I think he's an amazing quarterback in some ways. I think he's definitely captain check down. He did that a lot.
100%.
But on defense, what we cannot do against Tannehill is what happened against Derek Carr all game long. Excuse me. We let him go through all of his reads a lot. There was one time he got a completion to a guy after looking the entire field. He had so much time and then just dumped it off to I think it was his fullback on the right side of the field. He got like a freaking almost like a 20-yard gain or whatnot.
Yeah.
But like we just can't have those kind of plays happen.
And we definitely can't give Tannehill that kind of time. We can't.
Oh no. Tannehill has wheels. He does have wheels. He's shown that. Again, it's just we got to win in the trenches again. And they don't have no Darren Waller, but they have some weapons. We can't let AJ Brown get out of hand there. But we're talking about the Raiders here. Dude, I can talk about the Titans for another freaking hour. Don't get me started because I almost feel like they're a team that they're almost in our division with how much I feel like we play them. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. And so I feel like we play them damn every year. And so it just works out that way, But but yeah, dude, like, I mean, honestly, was very impressed with the win on Sunday. Of course, there was a couple of times where I was scratching my head or I started getting a little anxious, and luckily, and I really think that just goes to show you the PTSD that Bills fans like have within them. But I mean, now I'm finally getting to a point where like, I just know that our team is going to pull it off. I don't see a team blowing us out one time this year. And so I really think that we are in a treat for the significant future.
100%. I think you said that perfectly. And you've been right a lot. You really have.
It's dumb luck, to be honest with you. It's just dumb luck.
Bull.
It's just dumb luck, man.
You got an insider, man. Who is it? Let us know. Let us know already.
And so it's me a week in the future, bro.
Exactly.
Sends me faxes, right?
Gosh, you're Morty. You got a Rick. You're just going through portals all the time to check out what's going to happen next week or what the possibilities are. It's like hilarious, man.
Oh, dude, holy hell, man, holy hell. But yeah, man. Once again, I really appreciate you coming on. This was definitely a good time. So, Dumb Mafia, do me a favor. I did link Steve's podcast in my description. Definitely go and listen to that. It's an awesome podcast. It's on Buffalo Rumblings. He knows his shit. And Steve, I will let you go on ahead and I will let you say your closing remarks.
Well, once again, being with the Don Mafia is it's just close to my heart because you definitely embraced me when I had like 10 people listening to me. And then boom, I get an amazing opportunity to work for Buffalo Rumblings and be part of the family there. Your family. So you're always going to get on my show. And thank you so much for having me on your show. Again, you can follow me every Saturday. I'm putting out content on Buffalo Rumblings. It's called Buff Hub. And you can follow me on Twitter at Buff Hub. And Joe Believers, I know if you're listening to me, I miss you, man. I remember I miss our time when we would do the Brews and Bills on my old podcast on.
Brews and Bills was good.
Oh,
We gotta
Brews
bring
and
that
Bills.
back.
We got to bring it back. We'll do it next time we get together on Buffalo Rumblings, man. It'll be a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't forget where I started, and you know, I'm definitely thankful to have connections like you and Joe, and I got 10 other names I can keep naming off. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Go Bills, man.
Go Bills, baby. Don Mafia, thank you for tuning in. And before I let you go, always remember, let's go Buffalo.